Okay, today I'm going to be showing you the Adjust Inventory feature of the JMM Orson apps. The Adjust Inventory is part of the Orson Inventory app along with the Manage Photos feature. The Adjust Inventory can actually be done in one of two different modes. The first is immediate mode and the other is batch mode. There are pros and cons of each one, and I'll get into those a little bit more when I get into the batch mode. But first of all, I'm just going to show you the immediate mode, which is the simplest and fastest way to adjust inventory. Okay, so I'll just click on the Adjust Inventory button, and it brings up the inventory screen. So the first thing I'm going to do is scan a product. Okay, so it brings the product up. It will show you the description of the product, the department, the price, and the current inventory, as well as a photo of the product if you have a photo for that product. If the inventory is correct, you can just go ahead and scan the next item, but if we need to adjust it, all we do is enter the new quantity on the keypad. So if we don't really have 15, and let's say we actually have 12, we'll just hit 12 and then update. And now the inventory is updated. Now this inventory has been updated real time in your TRS database. So you don't have to wait and upload all the inventory as a batch later. That can be done in batch mode. But I will just go ahead and do a couple of other products. Here's some buttons. We don't really have 99 of those. We only have 24. So hit 24, update. I'll scan the next product. And these rotary cutters, current inventory is 4. Let's adjust that to 8. So as you can see, it's very fast and easy to adjust your inventory in immediate mode. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to switch it over to batch mode. So we'll go over here to the settings, and we go to our settings profile and hit the edit button and go over here to inventory, and we're going to switch this over to batch. So we hit OK. So now when we go into adjust inventory, it's asking us to select a batch. Now we can create a new batch, or we can use a batch that we've already been working on. I had one that I created here called 2014 year end, and say that this is the batch that we're going to use. So the rest of this worked very similar to the immediate mode. We're going to scan a product, and it shows the current inventory is 12, and we're going to update this to 13 and hit update. Now notice here it says batch update. Batch updated means that only the batch has been updated. The actual inventory level in TRS has not been updated yet. This will be done at the end through TRS when we import the batch and put all of the changes into effect. So I'm going to go ahead and scan another product. And these buttons, say we're going to adjust these to 13. Hit update. I'm going to scan the rotary cutter. And if this inventory is correct, then we can just go ahead and scan the next product. And so engage this inventory level. Let's say that's not correct, and we're going to change this to 5 and update. So again, all of these updates have been stored in the database. Now let's say that later on we go back and we find more of those rotary cutters that we didn't realize that we had in the first place. So I'm going to scan the rotary cutter item again. And it's telling us that we previously scanned this item, and it tells us the date and time and what quantity we previously scanned it at. And it's going to ask if we want to replace the previous quantity or if we want to add to the previous quantity. Now, if you were just correcting a mistake, like let's say you accidentally entered the incorrect quantity, then we would use replace the previous quantity. But let's say that we actually found more of these sewing gauges, then we would go to add to the previous quantity. So we'll do that. And now it says additional inventory, and say there were 6 more. So hit 6 and update. So now it shows the current inventory being 14. And again, this hasn't been updated in the TRS database yet, just the batch has been updated. And so we can continue doing this with all of our products. All right. Okay, now I'm going to take a moment to talk about some of the pros and cons of using immediate mode versus batch mode for adjusting inventory. So first of all, immediate mode. One of the pros for immediate mode is that it is fast and easy. The stock is updated real time in the TRS database, and there's no additional step at the end to import the batch later on. Another pro with the immediate mode is that it is safe to use while your store is open. Because the inventory is updated real time in the database, you don't have to worry about a customer purchasing inventory after you've scanned it, but before you've imported the batch. One of the cons with immediate mode is that it doesn't automatically handle stock that's located in multiple places. So for instance, if you scan 5 of an item and enter that into the batch, if you later on find more of that product, you may not remember that you scanned that same product previously, and you may change it to a different number without adding them together. Another con is that products that you don't physically have will not be adjusted. So for instance, let's say that you're out of a particular product, but the system thinks that you still have 2 of them in stock. Since you don't have the product there to physically scan, you probably won't realize that the product needs to be adjusted, and it would remain at its incorrect level. Now let's talk about batch mode. The main negative thing with batch mode is that it really isn't safe to use while your store is open. Because if, let's say that you scan a product and you have 8 in stock, so you set the batch to a quantity of 8. Now let's say shortly thereafter, a customer buys one of those products, and so you now have 7 in stock. Now later on, when you import the batch, the batch still thinks that you have 8, so it's going to adjust your inventory to 8, even though you actually only have 7 at that point. So again, batch mode really is only safe to use while your store is closed. However, there are 3 very good features of the batch mode that you will probably want to use. First of all, as we already mentioned, it handles the same product in multiple places. If you scan a product that you've already scanned before, it will let you know that and give you the option to add more to it or to replace the previous quantity. Another advantage is that it will produce a variance report for you. So at the end, when you've imported the batch, it will give you a report that shows you what your inventory was off by. And the final pro of batch mode is that it can zero out unscanned products. So as we mentioned before, if you have products that you don't actually have on hand, when you import the batch, it will give you the option of zeroing out any products that that you didn't scan, and you can do that by entire departments or by telling it that you did your entire store, and so it'll zero out products in the departments that you select or zero out products in your entire store that did not get scanned. And I'll get into that a little bit more when I demonstrate importing a batch. So in summary, we recommend using batch mode if you are able to do your inventory while the store is closed due to the additional features that it has. You can use immediate mode if it's not possible to close your store for inventory. And you would also use immediate mode if you're just doing some quick adjustments of just a few products, because it is very fast and easy and does not have the extra step of importing the batch. Okay, I'm now going to demonstrate importing an Orson Inventory batch into TRS. So the first thing we're going to do is go to the menu and choose Inventory, Import Inventory Count Update. Now it's going to ask you what the source is of the inventory data, and we're going to choose Orson Inventory App Batch. And now we're going to select the batch that we want to import. So I'm going to select our 2014 year-end batch that we've been working on. And now it's going to give us three options. The first is only update products that were actually scanned. So this is not going to zero out any products. It's only going to adjust the products that you actually scanned with the inventory app. The next option is I scanned an entire department or several entire departments, and any items in those departments that were not scanned should have their inventory level set to 0. So what we're going to do here is hit the select button, and we're going to choose which departments we want to zero out. So it's going to bring up a list of all the departments that we actually scanned products from, and it'll show how many products were scanned in each one of those departments. So let's say I wanted to zero out this department, and this department. Then I hit OK. And then it gives me the option if I want to see a report of items that were not scanned in those departments. This is just a double check so that you can see what products are going to be zeroed out. I'm going to hit no on this for now. And so it's filled in the list of departments to zero out. The third option is that I scan the entire store at once, and my entire store's inventory is in this single batch. Any items in the database that were not scanned should have their inventory level set to 0. So that's pretty self-explanatory. If you choose this option, every item in your inventory that was not scanned in that batch will have its inventory level set to 0. For the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to choose only update products that were actually scanned, and I'll hit OK. So it's going to bring up a list of the products that I scanned, and it's going to show the old quantity, the new quantity, and the variance, what the difference was. So this one had an increase of 1, this one had a decrease of 11, etc. So now I'll go here and hit Perform Update Now. And it tells us the inventory was updated successfully, and it asks if I'd like to see a variance report. So if we click yes on that, then it will bring us up our variance report that shows us our old quantity, our new quantity, and the variance being what the inventory was off by.